Thanks for the support as a channel member, Simon Gray. Manchester City in the Champions League quarter-final. Manchester, I mean, that's not hard, is it? Easy peasy. They've got Mbappe. Hello and welcome to Club 4, part 29 of Non-League to Legend. I'm Kevin. Coming up on today's episode, we have the second leg of our Champions League quarter-final game against Manchester City and an important Premier League game against Southampton. Since you were last with me, we've won every Premier League game we've played, but we did lose the first leg of the Champions League quarter-final away against Manchester City, but managed to score a hugely important 87th minute away goal from Kayo George. We never did agree how to say his first name. He scored in the 87th minute. That's important. That's what I'm getting at. So first job for today is to try and turn that around and book our spot in the semi-finals, which was the board's minimum expectation for the Champions League this year. However, if we don't manage to achieve that, I think we'll be able to appease them if we can find a way to win the Premier League. It's a bit of a long shot. We're 5 points behind Arsenal with 5 games to go, but never say never. But of course, priority number one, that Champions League thing. This is beautiful though. Look, top scorer by miles. Top average rating by not quite as much. Top assists, Jair, as much as he's top man of the match. Most assists. I know I'd go on about him a lot. Just to emphasise again, 21 years old, Jair. What a man. What a man. Let's get stuck into Manchester City and hopefully book ourselves a spot in the semi-final of the Champions League. This is a first game back for a while for Francisco as well. He's been out for a little while injured. King has had to play in some very important games, including that first leg against Manchester City. Really emphasising the fact we probably do need a decent backup keeper because as good as Francisco is, King, not sure he's the man. Decent player for most Premier League sides. I suppose it's not a disaster as a homegrown backup goalkeeper. But it would have been nice to be able to just slot someone else of Francisco's quality in. But he is back today, not fully fit, but need him. So Francisco's in goal. Back four of Sessegnon, Van Houston, Van Falvey and Jair. Vermonti at the base of the midfield. Victor and Vargas ahead of him. Rott behind Carlos and Fernando up front. Cross everything, boys and girls. We want a Champions League semi-final. And there are no easy games left in this competition if we do manage to make it past Manchester City. If you were to make a short list of the 8 biggest and scariest teams in Europe, I'm pretty sure you'd have this 8. Well, Spurs as well. Got to get the troll again, but we're pretty close to the 8 that you'd have. You can see it's Inter against Juventus in the other quarterfinal that's happening tonight. I think Manchester United are still in. Real Madrid and Barcelona are still in. Paris Saint-Germain are still in. It's a scary looking competition. Jair doing some Jair things early on though, and a goalmouth scramble, and Antonio Carlos had a big chance there and couldn't poke it over the goal line. But a goal there would actually have put us ahead in the tie. Fernando now with the corner and Carlos in again with another big chance and another big miss. I hope there's not a theme emerging for this match. It's Sessegnon now in space, finds Vermonti. Sessegnon gets the ball back again, back to Vermonti again. Vermonti looking for options ahead of him. I didn't think there were any, but he's found João Victor, who's actually not quite managed to get there, but Rott intercepts. Carlos is there for the third time, finds Fernando. Carlos this time does score. A 21st goal of the season for Antonio Carlos. It's 1-0 to Spurs on the night, 2-2 on aggregate, but of course we have that all-important away goal from the first leg. So as of right now, we are ahead in the tie, but there's obviously a long, long way to go. It's a lovely finish from Antonio Carlos. I can't speak, I'm so excited. Of the 3 chances he's had in the first 20 minutes or so of the game, comfortably the hardest one to score with, but score with it he does. And now we are in the difficult situation. Look how fired up they are. We're in the difficult situation of not knowing what to do. Do we just carry... For now, we're just going to carry on as we are. But if we hit the 70th minute and we're still 1-0 up, have I got the stones to carry on attacking at Manchester City, or do I go a little bit more defensive and then, of course, risk inviting them back into the game? Jair nods it down to Vargas. Fernando's in. Fernando shoots, and it's a really poor effort from Wesley Fernando. The amount of goals that man scored this season, you would have expected him to at least test the keeper from a position like that. But half-time, 1-0 to us. We're halfway there, boys and girls. Don't get complacent, but just keep doing what you're doing. You know, let's get all of the Football Manager cliche team talks out there. I'm happy with your performance in that first half, etc., etc. Right, City with the ball from a throw. This is what we're afraid of, because if they hit us on a break, if they grab a goal, they've got, like I said in the intro, they've got Mbappe. There's a constant threat from them, and Jair's missed out there trying to get a counter-attack going of his own, but couldn't quite get there, and it's left us in a little bit of trouble. He has now got himself back into position. Rott back to Banfalvi, looking for Jair on the overlap again, but he's cut inside. He's got loads of space to run into. Jair is there and forces a save out of Edison, but he's doing some Jair things, boys and girls. And we have a corner now. It's Wesley Fernando to take. Many options in the middle. Doesn't find any of them. Van Houston's going to give it back to Fernando, I think. In fact, comes all the way across to Banfalvi. What are the chances of it being our two centre-backs that are the men who end up with the ball in a situation like that? And we're now entering that scary territory where I don't know what to do tactically, but Banfalvi scored! It doesn't matter what we're going to do tactically, because Laszlo Banfalvi, an incredibly important second goal. 65 minutes on the clock. Tottenham 2, Manchester City 0. It's now 3-2 on aggregate. An away goal is still or a goal for Manchester City is still problematic, but doesn't now kill the tie off immediately. And now I again don't know what to do. We're 2-0 up on the night, but I still don't want to invite them back into the game. We're going to bring Gibbs White on for Rott. That's a pretty simple change to make. João Victor can come off for Foderingham. Again, two fairly simple changes to make that don't weaken the team at all. But do we drop to a more cautious mentality? I'm genuinely 50-50 on it, because if you take the match as a standalone thing, now's a good time. With 20 minutes to go and a 2-0 lead, now is a good time to say, yeah, just drop back a little bit, lads. Soak up the pressure. But with it only being one goal with it in it on aggregate, it just seems silly to invite Kylian Mbappe to do that for 20 minutes, and he's won a penalty because we didn't even have to invite him to do it. He's gone past Sessegnon. Sessegnon's pulled him back, and we all know that as soon as the ref goes over to the little telly, it's a definite penalty. So I don't know why we have to go through this charade every time. We know it's being given. Just get on with it, for goodness sake. Give Francisco a chance to save the thing. Oh, what a surprise. The penalty was awarded. Who knew? Sessegnon escapes any further punishment, and it's Mbappe against Francisco. Come on, Francisco. Prove you're better than Pickford. Come on now. I like the fact it's taking a long time to get to the point where we're letting him take the penalty. The pressure's building on Mbappe here. The ref is absolutely trolling him. You got to walk over to this side of your ref. You're doing it slowly, not looking at anybody. What a scumbag that referee is. But it doesn't faze the best player in the world. And there's his 29th goal of the season. And now it's all square. 2-1 on the night, 3-3 on aggregate. We're now very afraid, because obviously if they get another away goal, we are in a bit of a problem, in a bit of a pickle. Let's, what do we do? Luis Uribe is a player that I tried to sign way back at Barnsley and just missed out on him. I forget which defender we signed. We decided not to go for him and brought someone else in instead. It looks like I was wrong about that. Right, final change. Sessegnon. We haven't got Azzopardi on the bench, so we can't take him off. I don't know that there's a change to make here. I don't know if Sancho or George are more likely to win the game than the players who are already on the pitch. And we are already ahead. I think we save our substitutes for a little while. I'm gonna ask for creativity, because we are still attacking. A goal for us still wins us the game at the moment, but it is City who are the ones in possession at the moment. Big, deep cross, Jair. A pretty poor defensive header from him. Cross comes back in, and there's Mbappe again, and he's just too good. This is the problem. I think as a team, we're probably better than Spurs now. We are Spurs. We're probably better than Man City, as we showed when we beat them in the league. But we still don't have, and you do have to take a look at Jair here as well. But we don't have an Mbappe. Right. What do we do? We're going to take off Vargas and we're going to bring on Sancho or George. We're going to bring on Jadon Sancho. We're going to drop Gibbs White back there. We're going to go attacking. We're going to ask for 10 minutes of passion, even though there's not 10 minutes left. And we're just going to cross fingers and hope. I mean, it's not enough. We need to score twice, don't we? So there probably wasn't any point in going more attacking because it wasn't going to be enough anyway. Oh, well. First time back in the Champions League. We weren't going to win it this year. But it would have been nice to... We got ourselves in a position where we could have got through that round. And it's a little bit sad that we didn't manage to. But I guess, looking on the bright side of things, we now have 5 games in the Premier League that if we win them all, we are in with a chance of winning the league. So let's go and try and do that. I'm pretty sure this is a good reason to sack my assistant manager because Jair apparently lacks natural flair, so should be ordered to stay back at all times. To be fair, his flair is 5. But has this guy seen him play? This is the same Jair. He's on a 7.55 with 15 assists, 4 goals and 6 man of the matches this season. I ain't telling him to say. No, we're not going to do that one. Thanks. So we've had a week's rest. This is the team that's playing against Southampton. Francisco in goal. A back four of Sessegnon, Fotheringham, Van Houston and Jair. Vermonti behind Vargas and Gravenberch in midfield. Dele Alli back in behind Carlos and Fernando up front. Gravenberch not fully fit. Probably should have seen how much of a game he's able to play. But we've missed him. He's another one who's been injured for probably a month or so at this point. And how different might the Champions League have been if we'd have had arguably our best player of the last year and a half, I guess taking Jair out of the equation, but it was Gravenberch switching to the Mezzala way back when, the attacking Mezzala, that kind of started the comeback for my Spurs career. So that was over a year ago now, and I do think he is comfortably our best midfield player, and here he is taking a free kick and scoring a goal just to demonstrate how good he is, and he runs off doing the old 1990 Gaza celebration, which is lovely stuff. We'll have a look at the free kick from the other angle before I go back and have another look at the league table, because worryingly it looks like Arsenal are continuing to win their games as well. So as much as we're going to give it a good go and try and win all of our remaining games, we are relying on Arsenal losing twice. So despite the fact we absolutely battered them in the league earlier in the season, they seem to be using their superior experience of not bottling it to not bottle it at the moment, which is a little bit of a shame. Jair, though, got space to do some Jair things out on the right-hand side. Is he going to beat his man? Of course he's going to beat his man. And then, Carlos, that was a fantastic save from the Southampton goalkeeper. Just as far as I was concerned, Antonio Carlos had scored there. And then somehow their keeper managed to get a hand to it, which just seemed absurd, quite frankly. He shouldn't have been able to do that. It doesn't look like Arsenal are playing now, so presumably they've already played their 34th game of the season and won it. So what we haven't had yet, which we would normally get in this situation, so I guess it's going to come before the next game, is that little graphic that comes up in the inbox to tell you who everyone's got left to play and what the run-ins are like. So I can only hope that Arsenal have got to play Man United, Chelsea, Man City in their running, because the only big team we've got in our final 4 games is Liverpool. It is Liverpool away. It's not going to be an easy game, but if Arsenal have got even harder games than that and multiple of them, then we might have a little bit of a chance. But I think this season is going to go down in history as an almost season. Certainly huge progress from where we were even a year ago. We're going to get into the Champions League through the league. We had a decent run in the Champions League. We got to the semi-finals of the League Cup. But everything we competed in, we just weren't quite there to go and win them, which we're only going to get better. The one thing we've got now at Spurs that we didn't have when I arrived is a very young team that is going to get better. What a goal from Antonio Carlos. He's another one who's only 21, 22 years old. Fernando's like 24. I mean, we just have to go through the team. Even Gravenberch, who's been here forever, I think he's still only 27. So he's still got 4 or 5 years left in him. Rott is still young. Vargas is young. Vermonti's a little bit older than him, but I think even Vermonti's only 25. Sessegnon, I think, still isn't even 28. Jair, 21. Banfalvi, I think, 23 years old. Van Houston might be getting close to 30 now. Fotheringham, though, ready to come in and replace him, is still only 24, 25. Francisco in goal, I think, is 25 years old. So this team, what is he doing? This team is just going to get better next season. What we do need, I think, is a real world-class Serenuk Nuhu style attacking midfielder, because as much as Dele Alli had a great year last year, he's not been the same player this year. Gibbs White isn't the man, I don't think, to step into that void. Jair plays it back to Vargas. What a goal from Vargas. It's beautiful seeing our young players do these beautiful things. And really, as an attacking midfielder, we're kind of rotating between Dele Alli, Gravenberch, Rott. Nobody's really got hold of that position and made it their own. Now there's a chance Rossi, the young Argentinian striker who's out on loan, he has been training to play there. He has got a lot of natural ability, natural skill. He's just not much of a finisher to play as a striker. So there's a chance that might end up being his position when he comes back off his loan. I haven't actually checked in on how his loan is doing, but I think if we are given a pile of cash to spend this summer, and I'd like to think we will be, because we've got almost £40 million still in our transfer budget now, and after the Champions League run and a Champions League qualification, I'd like to think we're going to be given like £100 million transfer budget to really go out and buy a top player. And I think that top player has to be a world-class attacking midfielder. As much as I'd like to go and get Nick Carter as the best young English player around, who hasn't already been snatched up by a big club, I think we've got to have the Dele Alli replacement come in now, who's just going to sit in that position behind the front two and just be world class. Jair. I don't know how that's not ended up in a goal. That looks over the line to me, and how Fernando's not just tucked that in, I don't know. But Jair is ridiculous. He is a ridiculous footballer. And it's the fact he's still only 21. I don't know that I've ever had and I know I've said this a lot probably recently, but I can't think of a more exciting player I've ever seen in Football Manager. He's just, you never know what he's going to do. And this system is built perfectly for him. We can't ever stop playing the diamond for as long as Jair is here, or we're here, because we need to just give him complete free rein to do what he likes and have the whole of the right-hand side of the pitch just to do Jair things, because it's beautiful, beautiful to watch. Francisco making a decent save there to keep it at 3-0. One thing we should probably check out is goal difference. Goal difference, we're a little bit behind Arsenal on goal difference, but if it comes down to it, we just have to make sure we score lots of goals. I think Man United are out of it. Chelsea definitely out of it. It is a 2-horse race between us and Arsenal. We just got to hope they bottle it. Fernando's going to come off for, you know what? I might bring Sancho on today, although George would typically play in that role. Let's bring Jadon Sancho on and just give him 20 minutes playing as a striker, because he has been training there all year. I think this has got to be the summer that Jadon Sancho leaves for £20 million and we just accept the loss on him. If someone's willing to pay his extraordinary wages, he's on like £350,000 a week. If someone's going to take him, we're going to let him go pretty much wherever this summer. And we'll take Vermonti off as the final change and just drop Vargas back in there. We probably should have taken Gravenberch off, actually, because he's only just back from injury. But he's too good to take off. We'll just have to assume he's not going to get injured and it'll all be fine. Vermonti back to Fotheringham. Fotheringham forward to Sessegnon, who looks up, just decides to give it back to Fotheringham, who still hasn't decided, 25 years old, still hasn't decided what his best position is, but I think his future is probably as a centre-back alongside Banfalvi. Sancho was in there, and a little bit more striker's instinct, and he makes it 4, but that's probably demonstrates why Jadon Sancho's never actually going to be a regular starting striker for us. That, and the fact he's an old man in this team now. He's 28 years old, I think, around that. He's too old. He should be in his prime, just tearing teams apart on the wing, and He's not going to get that playing for us. So him and Virginia both need to move on, because I think this season has shown us we are not going back to wingers anytime soon, because we've got strikers who can do stuff like that. Antonio Carlos, goal 23 of the season for him. How could we break up Carlos and Fernando as a strike partnership? It's just too good. We have Brazil's front two playing for us. That's a pretty useful situation to be in. 4-0 to us on the day. Lots of important goal difference use. Good sentence, Kev. Really good sentence. And now, hopefully, we can just check in on what the run-in is. I don't think we're going to get that graphic through in time for this video, but what I can... Look at that man. It just looks like a footballer. Shut up. But what we can do is just have a look up here. So, we're looking for Arsenal games and our games. So, Arsenal away against already relegated West Brom. It's a guaranteed win for them. Hopefully, we'll beat Wolves. Next set of matches, we have Arsenal away against Everton, which is not an easy game, but I think that's when we are away against Liverpool. Why can't I see us? Yeah, we're away against Liverpool on Monday night. So again, we've got the slightly harder of the two games. And then they're at home against Manchester United. Now that is huge. We're going to need United to do us a favour there while we're playing Brighton. And then on the final day of the season, Arsenal are at home against Brighton and we face Norwich. So we need them to lose against Man United and drop some points somewhere else, and we've got to beat everybody, including Liverpool away. I don't think we're going to win the league, but it would be nice to know we're still in the hunt tomorrow when we come back for the final two games of the season. If you've enjoyed that, please make sure you leave a nice big thumbs up on there for me. The bin men have come to celebrate the end of the episode. Subscribe to the channel for daily Football Manager videos, and thank you very much for watching.